Hey everybody, it's me, and I wanted to do a quick podcast on college football real quick, since it looks like college football is actually going to be in action in the next couple of weeks in more than just a bunch of small colleges and such. Let me give you a brief rundown as to what is going on this weekend. There are actually some games today. Eastern Kentucky is at Marshall. Middle Tennessee is at Army. SMU is at Texas State. Houston Baptist is at North Texas. Arkansas State's at Memphis. Stephen F. Austin is at UTEP. Monday, you've got BYU at Navy, and probably the biggest matchup of the weekend. And on Thursday, you had two games. UAB beat Central Arkansas 45-35. And South Alabama beat Southern Miss 32-21. And next week, we actually have some of the bigger colleges coming onto the scene. UAB is playing at Miami of Florida on Thursday. Saturday, Syracuse is at 18th ranked North Carolina. Charlotte's at Appalachian State. Eastern Kentucky is at West Virginia. Louisiana Lafayette is at Iowa State, 23rd ranked. Louisiana Tech's at Baylor. Citadel's at South Florida. UL Monroe is at Army. Duke is at number 10, Notre Dame. Campbell's at Georgia Southern. Georgia Tech's at Florida State. Texas San Antonio is at Texas State. Arkansas State's at Kansas State. Austin Peay is at Pittsburgh. Missouri State's at Oklahoma. Clemson is at Wake Forest, which is going to be the college football game day on ESPN, which I don't know why they would be doing that, because they can't have crowds in North Carolina, and they can't have fans in the stands in North Carolina. But we'll see what happens. Tulsa is at 15th ranked Oklahoma State. By the way, Clemson is number 1 ranked, in case I forgot. Tulane's at South Alabama. Western Kentucky's at Louisville. Houston Baptist is at Texas Tech. UTEP is at number 14 ranked Texas. And Coastal Carolina is at Kansas. Now, we all know that the Big Ten and the Pac-12 are not playing this fall. At least the Big Ten is not playing right now. There is speculation, obviously, that they may change their mind and start playing games maybe as early as November. They can't do it right now, obviously, because they've not practiced or anything like that, so they need some time to look that over and all of that. But I really wonder how wise it is to do any of this, because Texas, TCU's SMU was postponed by a COVID-19 outbreak. And the other day, they diagnosed, I know that they've got, the Pac-12 is going to be using rapid result COVID-19 testing that could expedite return to play. It's just one of those things that the other day they had in the Big 12, if I can find it, that they had actually found out that one of the research has shown that 35%, I believe 35% of the players tested had a potential heart condition, that for those of you who had recovered from COVID-19, had been infected, had gotten potential for a heart condition. And I'm looking for it here. By the way, the Big Ten voted 11-3 to postpone its fall season. That was the revelation. So 3 schools voted for a football season. And I'm trying to find that story. It was in, I don't know if it's on here or not, but no, it probably isn't going to be on here. But anyhow, I wanted to talk about this because, quite honestly, there's a lot going on and in college football, some of which we really need to keep an eye on, because a lot could definitely happen in the next couple of weeks, within the month, because, like I said, this virus, it could be getting better. We could be getting better at fighting it, but we've seen peaks and valleys. And the reason I say that is history. You probably heard this a lot during the COVID-19 outbreak, but a century ago there was this thing called the Spanish influenza, which is comparable in the impact it had on society. Now, back then they didn't have what we know now. Obviously, they weren't as they didn't have the medical science we had. They didn't have the scientific knowledge we had. So, in many cases, they kept going. And the argument's been, well, a century ago they still went to football games and whatnot. Well, they didn't know what we know now about infectious diseases. And their knowledge back then is a pittance compared to what we know now. So it remains to be seen what happens with this college football season. I'm very cautiously optimistic that we'll get through it. NFL season starts on the 10th with the Chiefs playing their opening game, and then the following weekend, obviously, next weekend will be the start of the NFL season, and there won't be any fans. I believe there will be some teams that will have fans, most will not. It's going to be cautiously watched, and what worries me is, with all of this temptation to want to get things reopened back up, and I understand it, trust me, I definitely understand it, and I wish I could, embrace it, because I would really like a return to normal. I don't know of anybody that doesn't want to return to normal, but we've also got to be smart about it. So it's one of those things. And a lot of the reason for this cautiousness, a lot of folks say, well, the number, not many people are getting infected and all this. It's the reason for a lot of this caution, especially on the high school and college level, is one big word: liability. If one of these players were to come down with COVID-19 and die, and it were revealed that player was pressured to play despite being, despite the concerns, that could be a very huge issue. Yes, we are a very litigious society, very sue happy and all that, but that is the way we are these days. People know their legal rights. They're going to exercise them. You may not like it, but it is what it is. I just worry that we're going to get far into this season and there's going to be a massive second wave come about and everything's going to be shut down again. That's what I'm worried about. Whether or not it happens will remain to be seen. But I hope we get through all this. I hope we do, because, like I said, I want this to be done. I don't know of anybody that is enjoying all of this. There are a few introverts who at first were like, hey, this is really nice. I think they're kind of tired of it now. So, but we shall see. Anyhow, I wanted to get on here. But actually, the reason I kind of want to get on here is I want to test out I've got my tablet running Spreaker right now, and I'm testing a new microphone to see how it works. So I just wanted to do this little podcast, kind of get you guys up to date. I will, next week, sometime probably I'd say Tuesday or Wednesday 1, I will be doing my NFL preview, and we will talk about what I think is going to happen in the season and my picks for the first week of the season, in one of the most unpredictable NFL seasons we'll ever see. I'm going to give you some hints. I think that the Patriots will do better than expected, but they won't win the Super Bowl. I think that Tampa Bay will be the biggest team to disappoint this year. And I will tell you why I think that's going to happen. I think the Panthers will win more games than people are expecting. I think that Pittsburgh will be the team to watch out for in the AFC. I think Kansas City will be the likeliest contender to repeat in 15 years. And why I think that the best team in the NFL may not win the Super Bowl. We'll talk to you on Tuesday or Wednesday for NFL preview, but until that time, it's bye for now.